All right. Hi, everybody. How are we doing today? I'm hoping you are having a marvelous Saturday morning. Today, we have got someone really special for all of you to go ahead and get introduced to learn so much from. And I think this opportunity is once in a lifetime opportunity. I cannot feel more blessed and more happy to actually be a part of this, right? To actually meet somebody so amazing. And learn so much from this highly esteemed person. Who am I talking about? Well, today, I think you all must have seen the flyers, but today we are talking about Mr. Iain. He is the Saudi German Hospital UAE Group HR Director. He has done multiple things, been in multiple places, a very knowledgeable person, a person who has seen through ups and downs in a lot of companies and has brought them to power again. And I think this is what a leader does, right? They just pick up something and create some magic out of it, which a lot of people are not even aware of. And I think this is the beauty of having such leaders in our world, to get inspired from, to learn a lot from, and to use this opportunity that you all have been given by Westford University College to actually get introduced to such esteemed people and make a difference in this world. I cannot, even if I say a lot of things, I'm sure I will still not be able to do justice to Mr. Iain's accomplishments, to what changes he has made in life through his leadership. So I would really like to go ahead and introduce you all to Mr. Iain. I will not tell your last name because I'm guessing that I might just goof up on that. So Mr. Iain, please excuse me for that. But yes, thank you so much firstly for being here. Welcome to Westford University College. We cannot be more happy and glad to have you around. I want you all, just like how you have inspired over the years so many people, I really want you to use this platform and inspire all of us. So thank you for being there, and let's get started.
And thank you for inviting. I have a presentation this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do an introduction. I'll do a brief journey of myself, and then I'll give you my thoughts on how to effectively lead your people by understanding their different styles and preferences. So this is me looking very smart with my tie and my lovely colour suit. There's my contact details if you need them. And my current position is the UAE Group HR Director for the Saudi German Hospital Group. We're one of the largest hospital groups in the MENA region. We've been established for over 30 years. And we have 11 hospitals with Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, and Russell Khaimah currently being built. We have another clinic also in Jumeirah. As was said earlier, I'm a charter member of the CIPD. I've been around for a very long time, hence the hairstyle and the old look. So 35 years in the private sector and 6.5 in the UAE. I think HR managers will put their job under the following titles. Leadership and strategy is, of course, hugely important. Recruitment, learning and development, employee relations, reward and performance, personnel, and, of course, change. HR is about implementing change. Life in supermarketing in the UK. Supermarketing is a fantastic base. You're in a very fast-paced environment. You're dealing with customers, of course. You're dealing with management, commercial decisions, and of course people in general. I found that supermarketing, my passion with people came to a head, and opened a very new and huge supermarket in England. I then moved into HR, taking on a project with time and attendance, which was a massive project for about 20,000 people. Moving on from supermarketing, I went into fashion. and set up an employee relations department for over 150 stores in the UK. I then moved into transport, and transport at the time was owned by the government and moving into the private sector. And it was a huge project to actually develop and promote people within, as opposed to keep recruiting new people. From transport into construction. So moved into the healthcare for the first time in the UAE, working for a private company and launching the new NHS 111 system. Then I suddenly moved from the UK to the UAE, to Abu Dhabi, actually, after many years of working in the UK, to set up a new hospital clinic in Abu Dhabi. And from there, I finally came to Saudi German Hospital in Dubai from Abu Dhabi. So hence I'm here now talking to you. So let's talk about leading people. As a leader, you need to understand different people. We're all human beings. We're all different. This is good. And this is needed. I think for me, it's helping you to understand a model called Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI. So let me explain this for you. I think it will be interesting and good for you to know. Well, MBTI was taken from the initials of Catherine Briggs and her daughter Isabel Myers. They were keen, disciplined observers of human personality differences, and they studied and developed the idea of the Swiss psychiatrist Carl G. Jung, which I'm sure you've heard of. So over 50 years of research, they explained the basic patterns of human functioning and personality differences. This is the start now. I'll explain much more in detail through my presentation. MBT is used in a wide variety of purposes, including the following: self-understanding and development, the career development, organizational development, team building, and management and leadership. It looks at the basic mental processes. It's about the way that we perceive information, and under MBTI we're saying that we're going to look at how we perceive this information through sensing and intuition, and how we make decisions, how we make the judgment of decisions, and thinking and feeling. Again, I know this will be difficult to understand, but let me keep explaining. First little job for you to do this afternoon then. What I'd like you to do is to just take a piece of paper and sign your name on a just normally sign your name. Whether you're left or right-handed, use your normal hand. Then sign your name with your other hand. Now, how did that feel? I think you'll all agree with me that signing with your preferred hand, and oh my God, I sign so many things at work every day. I sign millions of bits of paper, but signing with your preferred hand, it's natural. You didn't even think about it. It's effortless and it looks neat. But signing with your other hand feels a bit unnatural. You had to concentrate a little bit, and you probably felt a bit awkward and clumsy. This is emphasizing about a preference. We prefer to do something, and when we're using this preference, we do this in a more confident way. Of course, we can develop our non-preference, but it's difficult. In MBTI, we have a natural preference, one of two opposite preferences, and there are 4 preferences which I'll expand on through this presentation. We use both of these preferences, not at the same time, but not with equal confidence. But when we're using our preferred method, we are generally at our best and feel most confident, natural, and energetic. Through MBTI, we look at these following preferences. We look at innovation and exnovation. This is how we get our energy, extrovert or introvert. The next preference is around how we take in this information, either using sensing or intuition. or it may be how we make decisions, thinking or feeling. Let me ask you a few questions to understand the first preference then. Would you say that you're attuned to the outside environment? You prefer communicating by talking? You work out ideas by talking them through with other people? You learn best by through discussion? You have broad interests and you readily take initiatives? Or do you draw your thoughts from your inner world? You prefer to communicate in writing? You work out ideas by reflecting on them? Or you learn best by reflection and mental practice, and you focus in depth on these interests? You like to be private and contained? This will help you decide whether your preference is more about innovation. Sorry, my word's gone back. You still connected with me? This is about where you get your energy from, your inner self or from other people. You can think, are you the person? Are you this? Are you the CSR, the customer service in a busy outpatient department with people, patients, doctors, nurses, thinking, running around and loving this environment? Or are you perhaps someone that likes to work in the accounts department? You know, whether it's your fixed asset officer or your customer service. If you imagine if you move these two positions around, both of these people would be very lost in the other position and wouldn't enjoy this work at all. What do you see? Write down what you see in this picture. Some of you may see facts, boardwalk, flowers, sea, sky, six pillars. Other people may say, this is somewhere I would like to go. This looks a relaxing environment, an ideal holiday. It gives me peace. It's a lovely sunset. So you're talking about taking in information which is either orientated to present realities, factual, concrete. It focuses on the real and the concrete and the actual. Observe and remember the details. Or you're looking at imaginative and verbal creativity. Focus on patterns and meaning and move quickly to conclusions. So this is taking in the information either through a sensing or through an intuitive type. Let me ask you some more questions. Are you analytical? Do you solve problems with logic? You strive for an objective standard of truth, reasonable. You can be tough-minded, fair, and you want everyone treated equally. Or are you empathetic? 3 o'clock in the morning to say, I've just had someone break into my house. I've been robbed. I've had a burglary. What would you do? You would say, I'm coming round now. I'm going to come round, make you a cup of tea, look after you, make sure you're okay. Or are you the person that's going to be saying, we need to ring the police. We need to board up the window. We need to ring the insurance company. Both are very important, but this is how we how we manage this preference of thinking or feeling. And my last set of questions. Are you a kind of person that's scheduled, that organizes their lives, systematic, methodical? You like to make long-term plans and you try to avoid last-minute stress? Or are you someone that's spontaneous, flexible, casual, open-ended? You like things loose and you feel energized by that last-minute pressure. This is how we deal with the outer world, either judging or perceiving. How do you plan your holiday, for example? Are you somebody that will plan your holiday 6 months in advance, checking your passport, arranging taxi to the airport if you're flying, making sure your flights are all booked, arranging what presents that you need to buy your friends or relations, ensuring that you're packing your case perhaps 2 or 3 weeks before the holiday? Or are you somebody that's going on holiday next Thursday and will pack their case Wednesday night, be going shopping on the Thursday, ready for the weekend? So on a Wednesday, should be asking my teenage boy, are you going to be in this weekend for dinner or not, Scott? And he would say, I have no idea. I haven't planned my weekend yet. You can see the conflict there would be with someone wanting to have the plan in place and someone that wants to make a decision at the last minute. Think of that in the workplace. What we looked at then with MBTI are the different, or the 8 different patterns of normal behavior. Extrovert or introvert, the way that you take in your energy from the outside world, talking to colleagues, thinking out loud, chatting, working in a busy, hectic environment. Or introverted, where you like to be working alone, or you like to work in a quiet environment and reflect on the things that you need to person that, as we said earlier, is supporting somebody with their plans, if it's a burglary, about their insurance and boarding up the window, or looking after that team member with their feelings, either being very involved with the team, or of course looking after the team from afar. And then the way that you take in your information through judging or perceiving, that you plan logically and methodically over a long time, or you're someone that can be very open and flexible and deal with that last minute stress. There's no right or wrong, it's a preference. Each identifies normal and valuable human behavior. Here's an example. If you were someone that is intuitive, sensing, thinking and judging, you would draw energy and pay attention to your inner world. You like information that is real and factual, and you use logical analysis in decision making, and you like structure and a planned life. An opposite would be someone that takes their energy from the outside world, draws energy from other people and activity. You like to see patterns and connections. You like to see the bigger picture. You use your personal values in the decision making, and you like to be flexible and adaptable in life. But there are many different versions, 16 in total. How can leaders use this knowledge of their team's preferences? Well, look at the mutual usefulness of opposite types, intuitive or sensing. The benefits of an intuitive type would be that you'd be pertinent to the facts. You'd be looking at the realities and the current situation, apply experience as problem solving and focus on what's needed. But the sensing types will be looking at new possibilities, anticipating the future, looking at an insight to solving problems and focusing on long goals. You need these different types of people to make a good team. But as leaders, you need to see which people are looking at which people in your team can give you these different benefits. If you were the feeling type, you would be analysing consequences and implications. You'd be making sure that policies are adhered to consistently. You would make sure that you stand firm for important principles and create rational systems and be fair. The thinking types will be able to forecast how others are going to be feeling and reacting, making exceptions, making sure that the deepest human-centered values are adhered to, organizing tasks harmoniously, and thinking about everybody else, including the thinking types. Let's look at the effects of working in the workplace. If you like variety in action, or you're enjoying interaction and developing these ideas and learning new tasks, then when you're interviewing or assigning tasks, you can make sure that these people will be comfortable in this environment. There is no point in promoting a very, very good accountant, perhaps, who likes this, the inner thoughts and working in a quiet and concentrating in his office, putting him into promotion into this OPD department would not be right for him and would probably destroy him. As I said earlier, we can all adjust our preferences and we can learn, but I'm just saying how leaders can use these different preferences in the work settings. Sensing and intuition. This is looking for immediate issues, being realistic and practical, having a standard and fine-tuning this standard, building to conclusion by collecting facts and drawing on your own experiences, versus the people that are looking for inspiration, connections and meanings and new complex problem-solving ways, looking at the bigger picture and prefer new ways of doing things. So challenging the ways that for thinking. The feeling preference people will focus on the people's interactions and use their values to understand and decide. They'll want a harmony and support amongst colleagues. They're empathetic and refer to accommodate and reach consensus and apply values continuously. Judging and perceiving. The people in the workplace will want to make sure they keep on plan, that will like to get things settled and finished, feel supported by structure and schedules, and reach conclusion quickly, focus on timely projects. The perceiving preferences will want to have flexibility in the workplace, will like to be spontaneous, feel restricted by structure and schedules, leave things open, and of course focus on enjoying the process. I think as a leader, if you can understand people's different preferences and use that in your team, the people will enjoy working in the team and they'll enjoy working in the positions that you've given them. They will also then can be developed, because if you see people are very much having a plan and working in a schedule, but you want them to see the bigger picture, you can help them develop. Having an understanding these different preferences as a leader will help you develop the team and obviously cover all of the aspects that you need to cover. I think for me, it's about leaders. Connection wasn't that good at times. It made it a bit disjointed, sorry. But these are challenges we have in life.
Absolutely, yes. And I guess a lot of you are obviously, paying so much attention over here. We're having a good time. How was the presentation? Did you all get most of it? Please write your comments right now. I want to hear from you all. And at the same time, there will be question answers. So whatever question answers you have, please go ahead and ask. Informative, enriching. Thank you, Ansela, Rashid. It was great. Cool. So yes, Mr. Iain, you really, I'm getting a lot of great comments over here. So yes, the first question that I have just received over here is that when it comes to the recruitment, the HR recruitment part, what are certain elements that you actually look at when you're hiring somebody?
Attitude is the most important thing within the interview. Of course, people will have to, if you're interviewing, you need to either be into a job where you've got experience, depending on what type of job you're recruiting for. But if people can learn if they have the right attitude. So if we were recruiting for a manager, of course, a manager is going to have experience of managing and having a good understanding of their area. But if you are recruiting a new person, then someone's going to go into their first job. Then most important thing is their attitude.
Wow, that's true. Actually, I have a couple more. So one of them, I think Rakshan wanted to know what do you mean by intuition when you were talking about intuition?
I think this is where if you look at, it's about people that may see the bigger picture. Sometimes people will see many facts and logic, which is good, But some people don't see these facts and this logic and this detail, but they see the bigger picture of something. It's like the photograph. If you look at a picture and you can say, okay, then I can see on the photo that I showed, you can see that there's a boardwalk, that there's palm trees, that there's rope. These are facts. But if you think, no, when I look at this picture, I see a relaxing holiday, or my mind at rest or at peace. You're seeing the same photo, but in a different way, and you need to put that into the workplace. You'll be looking at the way people take in this information. If you're looking at a very OPD, you'll see many signs. The outpatient department. Many people will be working in with systems and processes, but they may not see that the department's very busy, or it's bustling, and it's an exciting environment. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay, well, thank you for answering to that. I have Waqas' question. Waqas is asking, what is better according to you? CIPD better learning is online learning, or learning in person?
It's the CIPD is internationally depending on your life and how you manage. I was working full time, and I did CIPD online and a mixture of some workshops per month. I think you have to interview yourself for that. If you're someone that can be very, very strict with yourself, you have an environment at home that you can do the work at home, or I mean, it's back to your preference. If you're an extroverted thinker, you may love to go to a workshop, talk to people, think out loud, enjoy an environment. Or if you're an introverted thinker, you may want to be sitting at home and actually be just concentrating yourself and analyzing. It's very much a personal preference.
Okay, well, thank you. Soha has got a question. As job seekers, how to upskill our resume to be even chosen for an interview when there is over 2,000 applicants for a job via LinkedIn?
I know it's a very, very tough moment for finding jobs, and it's a numbers game. If you're applying for 100 jobs, you're going to get a few interviews. I think sending the CV is by online is the quickest and easiest way, but sometimes has the least impact.
Yeah.
Because there are 2,000. If there's a possibility of taking a CV to somebody and presenting yourself, which is much more effort and very hard to do, then you may get a little advantage. But if I had the answer to that, I'd be a very rich person. I think it's your CV is going to be explaining you, and you just have to have an honest opinion of you, and you just explain what you've been doing or what you wish to do, and don't make it long and laborious. Is have it impactful. It's that first page. Many recruiters won't read much more than the first 2 paragraphs, let alone the first page. So it's about you as a person. But if you do have the opportunity to actually drop a CV personally, I think in the current climate it may give you an edge, but it's a tough moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand totally. But all the very best to all those people that are trying hard. I'm sure persistence never fails, and you will actually get through it. So yes, all the very best for that. Rekha has got another question. Rekha Pillai, she's asking, how can we change our leadership styles spontaneously with different people having different preferences?
That's a very good question. I think we change our styles through the environment we're working in, and also through our age as well, and what we're doing. I mean, my style would have changed dramatically from when I was a young man until when I was an older man now. You know, when you're younger, you tend to throw many hours at the job to actually get the task done because you don't have the experience of doing it quickly. And as you become older and have responsibilities with family, you then have to become more effective at work, because you have to get home because you have other things to do, whereas the time is not your own. My natural style is I'm very much the person that will go on vacation and pack my case the night before. Yeah. My wife's natural style, she'd start packing about 3 weeks before. This drives me mad and drives her mad that I'm packing at the last minute. So you have to adapt your style. You know, sometimes you do things to appease other people because you know you're stressing them by doing something that's not in their comfort zone. So you have to adjust your preference slowly.
Okay, very nice. Yes, thank you. It's more like a learning for me as well, you know, when these people are asking you questions. So this is really amazing. Johnson Pinto has got a question that you have been through various industries such as supermarket, fashion, transport, construction, and healthcare. How did you get the motivation to enter new industries rather than just sticking to one?
That's a good question. I think I think when I left supermarketing, it was I'd been there for a long time, so I thought, well, okay, then supermarketing is very similar to healthcare. Actually, it's very fast paced. You're dealing with people. You have to be commercially aware, and it's similar. When I wanted to try different industries, you know, when you think to yourself that you're very good, you think I'm an expert in HR, but you're in your own world, and you have to push yourself to try other things, because suddenly you find you're not an expert in these other areas. Moving from the private sector in supermarketing into transport was a huge difference. Transport in the UK is very unionized at the time, and changing policies and procedures was extremely difficult. So you have to adapt. It makes you learn new things. If you're someone that wants to push yourself, then yes, change jobs as, you know, every 3, 4, 5 years. It makes it interesting, but it's not. There's no right or wrong. You could stay with one industry forever and thoroughly enjoy it.
Wow, that's amazing. I think there is a quote, I forget who is the person actually, but the more I know, the more I get to know how less I know. Something on those lines. It was just making me realize of that. But yes, thank you again. Another one. Your passion and work are great. We always look for great opportunities. So, okay, he wanted to thank you. Muhammad Irfan wanted to thank you for sharing the experience. So now, all right, so this is another one. The name is not there, but it's guest 982. And the person's got a question. I'm personally happy to know that highlighted fact about respecting people's differences and maximizing the organization profit. Based on that is an amazing advice. What other advice could you give to a leader in order to reach up to the stage of where you are currently?
So if I understand correctly, it's advice to give to a leader to become a successful leader?
Exactly, yes.
Wow. Okay. Then, well, I think not everybody in life wants to be a leader, and they enjoy doing the job they're doing. You don't want everyone to want to be a leader. So don't push yourself or push other people to lead, because sometimes you just need people to do a good job of what they're doing. I think being self-aware and asking many people for feedback on yourself will help you. If you can listen to other people and understand them, then you'll understand yourself. It's very listening to others.
Yeah.
If you have one mouth and 2 ears, use them in that ratio. And if the only answer to feedback is thank you. What you do with it is up to you. As a leader, if you're strong enough to take feedback from other leaders, from your colleagues and from your juniors, and tell them how I should do something better, what I can improve, force them into keep improving yourself, will give you good grounding.
Because I believe somewhere leadership is also an individual way of how they are, you know, coming up. But yes, for sure. Another question is that about hiring. Does MBTI measure skills and abilities, and is it very effective in practicality? So I've combined two questions of Rakshan as well as Ancila's, I think. Yes.
I think when you're hiring people, you're looking for people to go into a particular type of job. So if you're looking for someone to be in customer service, you want someone that's going to be having a preference of wanting to, excuse me, wanting to work in that very busy environment and thinking and being able to work in a busy environment. If you're wanting to recruit someone to be in a department where you want them to be very analytical and detailed, then you want a different type of skill. So yes, you should be using that. You're also looking at recruiting people on similar values to what you have in your organization, so that you're recruiting like-minded people that can add value and not be at conflict at all. So it's useful. There's no perfect answer. The person can adapt and can be different. We don't have to type people forever. You know, you will change, and you can learn. You can learn to sign your name with your left or your right hand in time. Some people can probably do that already. So
yeah,
they're very good.
Yeah. Another question, Nehal Soni is asking this, that what can you say about ambiverts?
I missed that last bit. What can I say about
ambiverts? They are a mix of introvert and extroverts. Ambiverts.
Oh, okay. So what, the mix between extrovert and introvert? Yeah, I think for sure you need both. If you have a group of extroverts in your team, there will be so much noise and discussion and there'll be little action. But the introverted people may not have chance to come up with their ideas. So you have to get the introvert to say, and what do you think? And ask this person that's sitting quietly, because normally they're the ones that have the best ideas, but their strength is not in shouting it out loud. The people shouting it out loud sometimes talk too much and don't listen. So you need this balance. But the leader is to try to get these people in tangent. Of course, you want the energy from the people to drive things on. You can't sit there and think about it all day. You have to do both. If you think, if you're doing DIY, there'll be the DIY person that rushes in and starts putting everything together without reading the instructions, and will make many mistakes, but will get there in the end. And the other person will read the instructions all day and not actually start their work. So you need some energy and you need some thinking in balance. Mm-hmm. We do both. Yeah, we're not all 100% extrovert or introvert. We do it at different times. There are times I generally like to be in an environment where I'm talking to people and asking them what their views are. But there are times when I have to sit quietly and reflect myself.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Thank you. Karthik Shah has got a question. So if we need to guide the person, not just be supportive, but actually guide that person, instruct that person, how do we handle the situation without, without sounding very dominating? If I could potentially use a better word. But yes, so how do we go about with that to make the person understand that there is a problem?
This is an age-old problem in every industry and everywhere. I think I thought if you want to talk to this person and tell them what they're doing, but tell them in a way that you would like to receive the information yourself. Now, people, as I said, feedback is very important, but people hate to have feedback, and sometimes managers don't like giving feedback, because what does it cause? It causes conflict. And but a lack of communication is the biggest contributor to conflict, whether it's between countries, religions, or people in the workplace. A lack of communication will cause the conflict. If you don't tell the person anything, there'll be a problem. So you have to be strong. You have to sit with them in a nice environment, perhaps by yourself, and you say, well, okay, then I've got some feedback for you that's going to help you, that's going to develop you. I want you to take it in a positive way. I want to help you to become a better person. You do more good than bad. So of course you're a good person, but you need to understand this is how you're making other people feel at the moment, and you need to give them some feedback with this, and tell them what the consequences will be if you changed, what the consequences will be if you don't change. But give yourself time. Don't try to rush it. Don't make sure you're in the right frame of mind yourself, and you're picking a good moment. So it's very, very important. If you give them the feedback in the wrong way, you'll cause an everlasting problem, or they'll leave not understanding. Even starting with asking them what do they think they can do better. Try to coach them to come up with what they think to do. Is my bit.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, for sure. It is quite complicated. Now, one last question that I think I can ask. So Benedict wanted to know that how do we as leaders influence change to first line management so that it can be absorbed by the whole organization? If you could give some tips on it. And yes, thank you for this question, Benedict.
I think forcing change is very difficult. You have to evolve change, or you have to give the consequences of no change. Say you wish to change the mindset of how other department managers manage. I mean, there were examples where someone would come and be sitting in the reception area of HR. I'd say, "What are you doing here?" Right. My manager sent me. I ring the manager and say, why is this person sat here? They say, oh, you need to tell him he's not doing a good job.
Yeah.
So you need to change this. Or another example I can just use is a manager was very upset with me many years ago, where they said, you shared with my member of staff their appraisal. I was very critical of them. I said, of course I shared with them, because it's their appraisal. Why would I not? So if you want to change the way people are thinking, you have to communicate. You have to, first of all, know what you want to change, and you have to get them to buy into this change at the top level. If they don't understand why to change, they will never change. You can't force the change. You have to engage the person to make the change. HR's role is to give them the options of what would happen if there's no change. If you talk about we talked about recruitment, let's talk about the other end. Let's talk about if you're going to terminate somebody.
Correct.
It's never nice to terminate somebody, but you need to make sure that you do this in the correct way. And if a manager's constantly wanting to terminate people, there'll be a consequence. You say, well, okay, this is costing us money. I can terminate somebody tomorrow, but if you do it illegally, there'll be a huge cost and a reputation cost. But if you do this by telling them what they're doing, give them the chance to improve, give them some clear targets, etc., etc., you may not have to terminate the person. You may improve them, which is better, and will actually save money as well. So this change will take time. And forcing it is always going to be tough.
You know, that's a very, very important and amazing point that you have highlighted on. And I personally, as well as Nusha also happened to speak to my heart totally. The question that she asked was, how do we deal with managers who do not want to give any kind of feedback, or who are reluctant to give feedback?
You have to think, are they the right fit for your environment? Are they actually the problem that's causing the problem in your facility? If this manager has been someone who doesn't want to give feedback, are they actually a good manager? You should give, so the starting point is to tell them what you think, and look at their operation. If you look at them under a balanced scorecard, is what are they doing operationally? What are they doing with their people? And what are they doing with their customer? And what are they doing financially? You need to have all of these things in balance to be a good manager. If your finances are great because you've paid nobody any overtime, then your people balance will be very low. But if you've developed nobody, if you're constantly hiring and firing, then you're going to be using statistics and KPIs to actually tell this manager they're not doing a good job, and also is to get feedback anonymously through a 360-degree feedback so that they can understand themselves. Then you need to say, well, okay, then if their manager is not happy, then they need to have some very tough feedback, and then you need to see whether this person is either part of the solution or part of the problem in your organization.
Correct. Yes. Wow, this was amazing and very, very insightful. I can't even tell you what a learning I have had personally, and obviously the people that are over here as well. Mr. Iain, just a fun question. What do you do apart from all the amazing things that you're doing? What do you do for fun? How do you keep yourself happy, motivated, especially now that we have, Mr. Corona also over here, which hopefully we'll find a solution for. But how do you keep yourself motivated and happy and inspired?
Well, I think we're all HR managers, whether we like it or not. Whether you're the finance manager, the marketing manager, or any industry, you're dealing with people. So I love dealing with people. I love going out socially and having dinner with friends. I love playing football, even though I'm back to my five-a-side now. I'm a bit slower these days. So enjoying keeping fit. If you have a fit mind and a fit body, it's good. But of course, family are fantastic. I got three children and a grandchild now. So this keeps you young.
Oh wow! Yes.
I don't think Dubai's the place to be for me. It's so multicultural and interesting and new. I mean, the whole country is younger than me, so it's so many things to learn. When you've been in a country that's evolved its employment law over hundreds of years, people just keep finding more and more ways of finding a way around it. The UAE is still new and vibrant, and there are many challenges. Having a very small and vague UAE law is good and bad, and we can work with that.
For sure. Yes, that's for sure. Ahood is asking, what is your favorite book? So that she can also go ahead and read and get inspired, and probably.
I don't know about favorite book, but I would say one a book, if you want to go and lead. For me, it's about Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yes, that's
do that one. Do that one, you'll be good. Yeah, one of my favorite things from Stephen Covey is called Sharpening the Saw. And if you haven't read Stephen Covey, I recommend it. Sharpening the Saw is everywhere in the UAE. Sharpening the Saw is, if you imagine this man, he's working very hard with a very big saw. He's sawing this tree down. He's working so hard sawing this tree down. And a man walks past and says to him, "Why don't you stop and sharpen your saw? You'll then be able to cut the tree down much quicker." "I haven't got time to stop. I must cut this tree down. It's so important." And that's what we all do too much of. We're all too busy to stop and to think, and because we think we can't stop. It's like if you're driving your car and you're not using GPS, but you can't stop to turn the GPS on, but you keep trying to find your own way and you get lost for a long time. Well, that happens to me a lot, actually. But yes, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits for Highly Effective People would be my recommendation.
Oh, thank you. That's an amazing one. And yes, Ahood, I agree with you. I loved this concept of tree and soul. Really a good one. Thank you. One last question. I'm sorry, it just came in, so I'll just go ahead and ask. Johnson Pinto wants to know, can we get some advice when it comes to decision making? For example, many decisions we take for a company might be risky as well. How do you take the leap of faith to make a risky decision?
Look, there's risk with every decision.
Yeah.
If for me, it's about the HR are to work with our in a business partner. So you should have a team, whether it's a strategic team or an operational team, but working together. If you go back to the, you can say, okay, then let's look at COVID-19. Right, we can reduce our workforce. We can cut down. We can stop marketing. We can stop training. We can save a lot of money very quickly. But the risk is that when you stop marketing and you stop training, you will be on this downward spiral. So let's look at the risk of doing that. Or you can look at the risk of increasing your workforce, increasing your hospital, taking on more doctors and more staff. And where others are curling up into a ball, then you can be the one expanding. But there's a risk as well. So risks, there'll always be a risk, and taking a leap of faith should be a decision for the strategic team, and taking in and using all of the different people, and how we've been talking today, the people seeing the bigger picture, the people seeing the facts, the people that are thinking out loud, the people that are using their ideas, the long term and the short term plans and goals. So you've got everyone's input to mitigate risk.
Oh, well, I know, tough, but thank you so much, Mr. Iain. Even after all the glitches, the fact that we could move on and people could learn so much from you, from your valuable time, I cannot be more thankful for having you over here and, really blessing us with your presence. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for giving us your time. We from Westford University College are extremely delighted to, have you on board with us and give such a great, inspiring lecture to all the upcoming students and perhaps even leaders that really want to grow in the market. Your question answers were amazing, insightful, especially the tree and soul. I think I'm going to again go back and start reading Stephen Colby's book as well. And thank you. Stay the way you are and keep inspiring us. And yes, I hope I can get a chance to meet you in person as well. I hope Corona goes away as soon as possible so that we can see each other. And yes, thank you. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I enjoy being on the webinar. I apologise that I kept cutting off.
We still enjoy it.
Don't ask me to do a webinar on IT. I'll be useless at that. That's certainly not my preference. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, and stay safe and look after yourself. And I look forward to some of these names being great leaders in the future. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.